So the market analyzer is really a great feature in NinjaTrader 8, but most people really, at least that I've talked to, have no idea how to use it or really get the most out of it. So in this video, we're going to show you how to really dominate it and make it work hard for you. To open the market analyzer, start by opening your NT8 control center and selecting New Market Analyzer. And it should be noted that you can actually open up as many of these windows as you want. But with the introduction to tabs into NinjaTrader 8, for most of you, having multiple tabs instead of multiple windows will probably be better. Your market analyzer window is probably going to be looking pretty basic to you right now, and you probably can't see a whole lot that's special with it. So let me show you one example of what it looks like when it is populated. So this is a market analyzer that's been filled with data. So just as a side note for our members, you can go ahead and download this template on our website, XABCDtrading.com. So now let's go back to that blank market analyzer and we'll show you what you can actually do with it. To make this market analyzer useful, you're probably going to add a few things to it. So the two things that you'll probably want to add right away are columns, which contain data, and the instruments that are going to populate those columns. Okay, so the columns are always going to go up and down, whereas the instruments will always be added as rows. So the fastest way to add instruments are by adding what they call an instrument list. Okay, so just right click on the market analyzer and go up to where you see instrument lists up at the top, and a list will populate once you select it in your market analyzer, or you will see individual instruments that you can add, and you'll have to add them one at a time. So that it's probably better and a little bit quicker if you work off instrument lists, and those can be added or modified as well. So if you're not too sure how to do that, we'll have another video on modifying your instrument lists. You'll notice after adding the instruments, some columns are populated by default. For the most part, this is not really useful to us at all, so we'll need to get some more useful data in here. Useful data will be different for everybody and what you consider to be useful. So I'm just going to go through some examples, but feel free to change this around to suit kind of like your own needs, but you'll get an idea of how to do that really easily. Okay, so in this example, we're going to load up an indicator on our market analyzer chart called RSI. It's not one I use. I'm just using it as a basic indicator and sort of function that we can follow. I imagine most of you guys probably know what RSI is or has at least heard of it. So if you want to walk through this example with us, all you need to do is right click on the market analyzer and then go to columns in the list and find underneath the available list the column called indicator. So you're not looking for one called RSI, it's actually just going to be called indicator. Now double click on it and you will see it drop down to configured. Okay, select it there and the properties will be displayed on the right, and you need to change the indicator property that reads ADL, since that's the first indicator sorted alphabetically, and change it to RSI. Under plot, it should read average for the average, right, AVG, and then you can change this or any other property settings you might want. So one of those property settings that you might want to change is the time frame. So this RSI value will currently be set to 1 minute, right? So a 1 minute chart, the value of RSI on the 1 minute chart. If we want it to be 5 minutes, change the 1 to a 5, and that's pretty much it, right? So it's a good idea to change the name of your headings as well. This is your column headings for your market analyzer so that they're more user-friendly for you and you kind of know what it is without going into the properties and looking at the settings. So let's change the label from RSI to RSI on 5M, so the 5 minute, so we know what time frame it is. You won't want to have column names that are too long, because the columns, the more you add, the more they're going to kind of push into each other, but that should be good enough for now. So let's change the label just from RSI to RSI 5 minute and press OK. Now when you see some dots, it's actually just collecting or processing the data, and when it's done, you'll see the RSI value for every instrument that you had loaded. Okay, so this isn't that useful to us because it's just a bunch of numbers, but say you wanted to know when a value is high or a value is low in RSI, and you want to ignore everything else. Okay, so you can actually do that. You can actually remove data that's there unnecessarily, and to do that we need to configure this column and customize it. So let's go back into our settings. We'll right click on the market analyzer, go to columns, and select your configured RSI column. Okay, so in the properties window on the right, scroll down if needed and find at the very bottom where it says conditions. Okay, by default it's going to say 0 conditions, and hover your mouse over those words, and when you hover your mouse over it, it will say add conditions. So click that. Now this is where we're going to configure some of the properties. So let's start by adding a condition where if the value of RSI is below 30, we want to highlight this as red. Okay, so select add at the bottom of the properties, and in the new condition we're going to change the background color to red, and we're going to leave the foreground color at white so it's readable. Inside the text box we're going to leave this as blank so it just actually populates the value. Okay, where the magic is under the trigger. What we're going to do is apply this to all our instruments, and we can leave the apply to all there. Okay, the condition is going to say that if it's less or equal, and the value we'll say is 30. So any RSI with the value of 30 is going to display the value with a red background and a white text. Okay, let's add another condition, and we're going to say if the value is greater than 70, display it with a green background, and you can go ahead and make up, either you can set it up like mine or you can change the values, whatever you want to do. And I'm going to have the foreground of this be black. Okay, so it stands out a little bit more green against black, and then just press OK when you're done. Now this is getting more useful. Okay, it stands out more. You can do more with complex rules if you want, like if it's greater than 31 but less than 69, put a dash there so that for the text you don't see anything and that no values appear. It's going to greatly decrease your clutter. Okay, let's go back and look at the market analyzer that we built, and we'll explain what we've done just so you can see something a little bit more advanced. Okay, so this market analyzer is removing all the data that doesn't meet a condition by putting a dash. That's why it looks so clean. This is currently scanning for XABCD patterns on a 5, 15, 30, 60, and 4-hour and daily charts. And the patterns are actually color-coded with additional data about the risk versus reward and how big they are. So feel free to spend your time getting the market analyzer up and running, but don't forget to save it. I should probably say save it often too. So just right click on your market analyzer and go to templates and save as, and just call it whatever you want. Next time you close your NT8 and have to reopen it, you can go into your market analyzer, you can right click, go to templates, and then load, and all your settings are going to come back. So take it from someone that's had quite a bit of experience building market analyzer templates. You want to save it often, as they can take some time to create, but then you get all that time back and more when it starts doing all the hard, heavy lifting for you. So let me know if you have any questions regarding the market analyzer. We'll have more advanced videos coming in this topic, so feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to get alerted to them and really improve your knowledge with NT8 from a quick and practical level.